Well, we want to talk about imperativo. Imperative in Italian language. Now, obviously, by the end of the session, we're going to learn how to make imperativo by ourselves, how to make plural imperative, how to make formal imperative, and how to make all these negative. And also, we have some small tips for you. So, let's see how it goes. Ciao amici, benvenuti al Facile come Italiano. Hello everybody, welcome to Easy as Italian. I'm Reza and today we want to talk about imperativo. But before we start, I want to tell you one small thing. You know, we almost finished indicative tenses in Italian language. Okay, we learned futuro semplice, futuro anteriore, presente, imperfetto, passato prossimo, and trapassato prossimo. That is 6 tenses, that is not something few. And now we only have 4 subjunctive, 2 conditional, and a passato remoto and trapassato remoto that I've said these 2 are the last bosses of Italian language, and I'm gonna teach them at the end of all the tenses. So a congratulations to you for finishing almost half of all the tenses in Italian language, and a congratulations to me for sure for explaining all that. But well, now let's talk about imperativo. First, I want to separate it in 3 parts. We have singular, plural, and formal. For singular ones, I want to start with a very super repetitive and boring sentence of mine. We have 3 forms of verbs in Italian language: the verbs that end with are, the verbs that end with ire, and the verbs that end with ere. First, for the verbs that end with ire or ere, it's pretty easy. We just put the second pronoun singular of their conjugation. Finished. Finished. For example, leggere, leggi. Leggere, to read. Leggi, read. Scrivere, to write. Scrivi, write. Chiedere, to ask. Chiedi, ask. Now, what about the verbs that end with are? For those verbs, we just delete re from the end of the verb. So it would be something like mangiare, to eat, mangia, eat. Trovare, to find, trova, find. Chiamare, to call, chiama, call. Finished, as easy as that. Now, let's go for the plurals. How do? We don't have to care about the ending of the verb. We just put the second pronoun plural of the conjugation of our verb. Even finished. It's really easy. For example, leggere, to read, leggete, read, you all. I'm giving order to more than one person, to a pack of people, okay? Leggere, to read, leggete, read, you all. Scrivere, to write, scrivete, write, you all. Mangiare, mangiate. Trovare, trovate. Very easy. Now, I have 2 tips. The first one is that if you remember, when we wanted to put an objective pronoun, we used to put it before the verb we are using. For example, I would say, ti ho detto. Ti ho detto. I told you, okay? Or I said to you, literally. Or, lei trova I pesci e io li mangio. She finds the fish and I eat them. The point is, we put the objective pronouns before the verbs. Li, before mangio. Ti, before ho detto. Okay? Now, when we are using imperativo, we put the objective pronoun after our verb and we stick it to the verb. For example, if you remember, I put you the song L'Italiano by Toto Cutugno. In the song, he used to sing a part that was like, lasciatemi cantare. Lasciare means to leave or to let. Okay, lasciare. Now, lasciatemi. Lasciate means you leave. Okay, it's an order to more than one person. Lasciate. Leave. Who? Leave who? Leave what? Leave me. Lasciatemi. Lasciatemi cantare. Cantare means to sing. So lasciatemi. Leave me, or let me, better to say actually. Lasciatemi, let me sing. As easy as that. Now another example, for example, mandare means to send, okay? And I can, for example, say, mandami le foto. Mandami le foto. Send me the photos. Foto in Italian is feminine, la foto, and the plural is just the same as the singular. So, la foto, le foto. Photo, the photos. The second tip, how to make the order negative. Okay, for example, I told you eat. Now I want to tell you don't eat. Okay, how do we do? We just put non and the infinitive of our verb when we want to do it to the singular. Okay, to the singulars. When we want to do that, when we're giving the order to only one person, we just put non and the infinitive, like non mangiare, don't eat, non leggere, don't read, non scrivere, don't write, non trovare, don't find. Very easy. Now, what about the plurals? We put non and then we don't change the verb. We just put the second pronoun plural of that. So, non leggete, don't read, you all. I'm giving the order to more than one person. Non mangiate, don't eat, non trovate, no, don't find, or non scrivete, don't write. I'm here to interrupt the session just to say, if you're not subscribed, subscribe the channel right now, and if you're enjoying the content, just tap the like button. I would really need your support. Now, continue your session. Now let's go for the formal ones. How do we do? First, I have to say that we have to use a tense. We have a group of tenses in Italian language that is called subjunctive, or in Italian they call it congiuntivo. We don't need to know what it is. I don't want to teach it to you in this session. It would be confusing. And I don't need you to know what it is, how does it work, how you can make it, how you can use it, nothing about it. I just want you to know that when we want to use formal orders, we need to use subjunctive, but I don't want you to know how do we make it. I would just tell you how it is, okay? So we have the verbs, three forms, the verbs that end with are, the verbs that end with ire, and the verbs that end with ere. For the verbs that end with are, we take are and we put I. Just that. Okay? So for example, when we have trovare to find, and we take are, trov, and then we add I. Trovi. Okay? It's, kind of exactly like the second pronoun singular of the conjugation of the verb. But not for all the verbs it's like that. Okay, there are some irregular verbs that it can be different, but for this it's regular. It's the same as the second pronoun singular of the conjugation of the present form of the verb, and that is what makes it easier for you. So trovi, find, but it's in a formal way. Okay, for example, when you want to talk to your boss, you wouldn't say trova. Okay, trova I miei libri, find my books. No, trovi I miei libri, per favore. Please find my books. Okay, trovi. You should use the formal form. Now, this was how we turn the verbs that end with are to the imperative formal form, to the formal imperative form. Okay, now for the verbs that end with ire and for the verbs that end with ere, we take ire or ere and then we add a. Okay, so they just get reversed. So now, for example, leggere would be legga, scrivere would be scriva, or chiedere would be chieda, okay? They are just the formal way of giving the order. That's it. Now, we have some irregular forms too, like for example, avere, to have. It's all, most of the times, irregular. Here it would be abbia. If you remember, the first pronoun plural of the verb was abbiamo, we have. Now it's something like that, abbia. Or for example, essere, that is always irregular. The most irregular you have ever seen in Italian language. So essere would be sia, okay, sia. Now, it has some differences from those two parts that I taught you right now. This is formal, first. This is formal, second. This is only for singular, okay? Only when you are giving order to one person. If you are giving order to more than one person, then you just use the plural form. That is the same for all the situations and forms, okay? This was the second difference. And the third difference is that when you want to make it negative, you just put non before that, and that's it, finished. Now, we learned imperativo. Let's see if you can confuse that or not. Well, it was pretty much everything as I remember. Now, if you want, just go read text and make yourself one step closer to being an Italian native person, native speaker. I hope you would all be happy. Have fun and bye.